Hi YouTube and welcome to my channel. My name is Patrick. Today I'm going to show you what you need to know in order to get started with the commands line in Linux. It's no secret that Linux popularity is on the rise. I saw the views and comments I got from my last video, so it's obvious you guys are interested in learning about Linux. So I figured why not give it a shot and see if I can teach you a few tricks of the trade. So with that being said, let's dig right in. Okay, we're here on my Mac and I've connected to my Linux machine remotely. So first things first, you need to know how to get around. Getting around in the Linux terminal is a little bit daunting at first because, well, there's no visual cues as to what you can do. You're just presented with this black screen and all you can do is type in some text and hit enter. But this is a super powerful interface, and if you can learn the commands line, then you will be set, you'll be good when it comes to interacting with Linux devices. See, the sad part is being able to use the commands line in Linux is kind of a requirement. Yes, there are nice graphical tools that you can use to interact with a Linux system, but often when you look things up online, they're going to tell you to type in commands in a commands prompt window. So, how do we actually use this? So the first thing I want to teach you is how to move around. First of all, we need to figure out where we are, and that's a very simple command, pwd. It stands for print working directory. Your directory is just what folder you're in. So if we hit that, you'll see that we are in the home/administrator folder. So, okay, so how do we get around? Well, there's a few shortcuts you can use. They all center around the cd command. CD stands for change directory, and let's say I want to go up a level in the directory and get up to the home folder. I can type cd ... and that takes me up one folder. So if we do this again, you'll see that I'm in the home folder. Let's go back into the administrator folder. So you can see the way that I did that was I started typing the name of the folder and then I hit the tab key, and then it filled the rest of it in for me. So keep in mind a quick way to type out a long word is hitting the tab key, and then the system will do its best to guess what you're saying. So we're back in the administrator folder. So what if we want to find out what's in here? Well, we can simply ls, which stands for list, and there's one folder in here called projects. So let's say we want to go into that folder. Again, I hit tab so it would automatically complete, and now we're in the projects folder, and you can see there's a folder in here called home lab. Let's go into the home lab folder, and there's nothing there. So that gives you a kind of good idea of how you can navigate around the commands line as far as moving your command prompts to different folders and files. So, okay, you know how to move around, and that's great, but it would be useful to know how to manipulate some files in here. So back here on the commands line, I'm going to use this command called touch. Touch is basically, it's a multi-function tool. So the touch commands will either create a new text file with the name that you, or it will make the last modified date on an existing file today's date and time. Don't worry too much about that second part right now, we're just going to use it to create a file. So we're going to call it test.text, and then if we ls again, you'll see in this folder there's a test.txt file. So that's nice, but how do we actually edit it? Well, we're going to use something called Nano. Nano is a text editor that works on your commands line. So we just do Nano, and then I hit tab to have it fill it out for me, and now we're in Nano. So in here we can say, here's my very important text. So you'll see at the bottom of the screen there's some navigation shortcuts. So to exit we do Control X, and then it's going to ask us a question. Do you want to save the modified buffer? We're going to hit yes. That's how you save the file. Okay? Now it's asking us what name we want to give the file, and since we're updating an existing one, it just has it filled in there, so we'll hit enter, And that's it. So what we did is we edited the file, we saved it, and that's it. So pretty straightforward, right? So, okay, now that we've put something in the file, well, how do we see it? There's a very simple command for that called cat. So if we do cat test.txt, you'll see there's the text that I wrote into the file printed there on the screen. Alright, so that gives you an idea of the basics, how you can move around the system and how you can manipulate text files. And that's very useful stuff to know because in Linux, a lot of the system is managed with text files, configuration files that just exist as raw text. So by knowing how to edit those from your terminal, you're ready to manage your Linux system, but there's another thing I want to show you in regards to that. So basically, with a Linux system, you might want to install something. You might want to manage what's installed, and the easiest way to do that is from the terminal. Let me show you how. So I'm on an Ubuntu Linux system. This will vary slightly depending on what flavor of Linux you're on, but on this one we have the apt package manager, APT. Here's where you learn something that's going to be very useful. In order to use apt, you'll see, I'll just type something in there, and you'll see I'm trying to use apt, but it says that I have permission denied. So what's going on here is my user account doesn't have permission to use the apt commands to manage software. How do we fix that? We use sudo. It stands for super user do, and when you type sudo, it basically runs the command as an administrator. So we're going to do sudo apt, and then we want to install software, so we'll say install, and then we can say something like Firefox, or Chromium, or in this case, we'll say Vim, which is another commands line text editor. It's going to ask us for our password, and then it's going to go ahead and install Vim. Now, I already had Vim installed in this example, but you get the idea. This is how you can install software. Let's say I want to remove some software. It's very similar. We're going to do sudo apt remove Vim. Notice that it didn't ask me for my administrator password this time. That's because once you type in the administrator password, then you get 5 minutes to run another command with admin rights without having to enter the password again. You can modify that in the configuration files, but the idea is that if you're doing administrator stuff and you're having to type that password in a whole lot, that's really annoying. So it gives you a 5-minute grace period. So now the system is asking me, okay, you want to get rid of this software. Do you want to do this? And I'm going to answer with the letter Y, which stands for yes. Alright, and Vim is no longer on this system. Let's say that I don't know the name of the package that I want to install. So we're going to do sudo apt search Vim. And here is all of the packages that have Vim in their name. Now, notice how I'm on Z, right? Because it's a long list and only the last little bit of it fits on the screen. What we can do is pipe the command. Okay, let's talk about that first. What does pipe mean? Well, pipe is basically a way that you can take the output of one command and feed it into another command. So in this example, I want to take the output of the search commands that I'm running, and I want to feed it into a command that will show me just little bits of the list at a time. And that second command is more. So now you'll see it starts me at the very top of the list, and it shows me the first few entries that fit on the screen. Then I can hit more just by pressing enter, and it shows me the next line one line at a time. Now, let's say I want to get out of this. So I'm in this big long list, and I could just keep clicking more until I get to the bottom of it, but that would take ages. How do we stop this? Well, if you want to stop a command in the Linux terminal, it's very simple. You hit Control-C, And there you go. You hit Control C, it stops doing whatever you were doing. Now there's one more thing I want to show you, which is a little bit of fun. If you want to see what your system is doing from inside the terminal, there's this application you can run called HTOP. Now this gives you a great bird's eye view of everything your system is doing, everything that's running on it, how your processor is being used, how much memory you're taking up. And it's just a useful way to get some information at a glance in case you're trying to figure out what's going on with your system. And again, when we want to get out of this, Control C, and that's it, we're out of it. Anyway, that was my video on the basics of using the Linux commands line. I hope that you found this interesting. If you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you liked this video, like the video. Any questions, leave them in the comments. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you for watching.